Epic pirate battles and betrayal, the untold tale of the pirate queen, the fateful battle. Amidst the tumultuous waves of the Caribbean, I, Isabella de Leon, known far and wide as the Pirate Queen, stood steadfast on the splintered deck of my flagship, La Venganza. The skies above were as dark as the depths below, slashed open by the furious cannon fire of the Spanish Empire's formidable navy. The air was thick with smoke and the tang of gunpowder, the sounds of battle drowning out the cries of the wounded. My heart raced not with fear, but with a fire kindled by years of betrayal and battles. As another cannonball tore through the air, missing me by mere inches, my thoughts hurtled back in time to a life marked by nobility and tranquility, a life violently uprooted by deceit. The Spanish galleons surrounded us like hungry wolves, their cannons roaring in unison as they sought to bring us down. The deck beneath my feet rocked with every blast, but I held my ground. My loyal crew, hardened by years of plunder and survival, manned the cannons with a ferocity that mirrored my own. The sea roared in fury, as if it too had taken sides in this battle of wills. With each command I gave, I felt the bond between us, the sea, my ship, and my crew, growing stronger. Today was not the day we would fall. "Prepare the starboard cannons," I shouted, my voice carrying above the chaos. My first mate, Rodrigo, a mountain of a man with a heart as fierce as his captain, relayed my orders. We turned La Venganza sharply, exposing the side of the ship to our foes, and let loose a volley of cannon fire that shook the sea itself. Flames erupted from the enemy's deck, and I allowed myself a brief, grim smile. Victory would be ours, or we would all go down together. Have you ever wondered just who the pirates were that roamed the oceans for more than a century? And how one woman could rise to command the respect of these fearsome seafarers and become the pirate queen herself? Welcome back to Human Stories Unveiled, where we dive into the untold tales of real people and the legends they've inspired. In this story, you'll witness how a noblewoman, wronged by the Empire, turned her anger into power and ruled the waves with unmatched tenacity. But remember, while this story is inspired by the many legends of piracy, it is ultimately a fictional account, blending history with the thrill of adventure, as told by me, Isabella de Leon. If you enjoy discovering these fascinating journeys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's set sail and uncover more about my life as the Pirate Queen. Early life. From noblewoman to outlaw. Born into the aristocracy in a lush Spanish coastal town, my childhood was a tapestry of elegance and expected subservience. I was the apple of my father's eye, his little Bella who preferred tales of the high seas over tedious embroidery. My father, a nobleman with a penchant for the ocean's call, filled my head with stories of distant lands and treasure beyond imagination. However, our idyllic existence shattered like glass when a conniving court official, envious of my father's favor in the royal court, falsely implicated him in a conspiracy against the crown. With my father's execution, our estate was seized, and our family name maligned. Stripped of our titles and riches, my mother and siblings faded into the shadows of society. But I, fueled by rage and sorrow, sought a new destiny. Disguised in my brother's clothes, I slipped away under the cover of darkness to Seville, where the port's siren call promised a fresh start. There, amidst the throngs of sailors and echoes of freedom, I sold my jewelry for passage on a pirate ship, hiding my noble roots and gender. The life of a pirate was far from the nobility I had known. The deckhands were rough, the captain merciless, and the sea unforgiving. But I learned to fight, to navigate, to survive. I learned the language of the waves and the secrets of the winds. My first taste of battle came when we intercepted a merchant vessel off the coast of Gibraltar. When our captain fell, I seized the opportunity. With bloodied hands, I took command, steering us to a narrow victory. My courage revealed my true identity, but instead of scorn, my bravery won me respect. One stormy night, our ship, the Sea Witch, found itself battling not only the furious waves, but also a rival pirate crew. The darkness was our ally, but the lightning illuminated our every move, giving the enemy glimpses of our desperate struggle to hold the line. I found myself on deck, side by side with grizzled pirates twice my age, my hands trembling as I held a cutlass against an advancing foe. As he lunged at me, the ship lurched violently, throwing us both across the deck. I narrowly escaped, plunging my blade into his side before he could recover. That night, I earned the crew's respect, not through lineage, but through blood and grit. Then came the harrowing day in the bustling port of Tangier. We had docked to trade, but danger lurked in the shadows. I had barely stepped onto the docks when I felt a dagger press against my back. A bounty hunter, a man intent on capturing me for the price on my head, the reward posted by the crown. He dragged me into a dark alley, and I could hear the clink of coins in his pocket as he muttered about his plans. But I wasn't about to be taken without a fight. With a swift movement, I stomped on his foot, spinning around to elbow him in the face. As he stumbled, I grabbed his dagger and used it to free myself, disappearing into the maze of streets before he could call for help. It was in that moment I realized that my past, my noble birth, would forever be a shadow I needed to escape. Not all the danger was from outside. One night, a mutiny broke out aboard the Sea Witch, instigated by a crew member who coveted my growing influence. He tried to turn the men against me, whispering lies about my true identity. It came to a head when he cornered me in the hold, a blade glinting in the lantern light. We fought amongst the barrels of gunpowder, each strike echoing with the potential for our destruction. He slashed at me, but I dodged and countered, using the confined space to my advantage. With a final, desperate push, I threw him against the hull, knocking him unconscious. The crew, hearing the commotion, rushed in and found me standing over his limp form. They saw the truth in my eyes. I was not a woman to be crossed. From that day on, I commanded not only their respect but their loyalty, forged in the crucible of conflict. Rise to power, the making of a queen. Soon, I captained my own ship, amassing a loyal crew disillusioned by imperial oppression. My name began to spread across the Caribbean. Isabella de Leon, the pirate queen. Under my command, our conquests grew, as did our fleet. I ruled not by fear, but with a fierce justice that earned me the loyalty of my crew and the admiration of those oppressed by the crown. We plundered with purpose, targeting imperial galleons and redistributing their wealth among the colony's downtrodden. My flag, black as the stormy night, adorned with the fierce red lion, became a symbol of hope and terror on the seas. One of the defining moments of my rise came during a daring raid on a Spanish coastal fortress. The garrison was heavily fortified, with cannons lining the walls and soldiers patrolling day and night. But intelligence from a sympathetic villager revealed a hidden entrance, an old smuggler's tunnel leading directly into the heart of the fortress. Under the cover of darkness, my crew and I navigated the narrow, winding tunnel, our torches flickering in the damp air. We emerged within the fortress walls, catching the guards by surprise. A fierce battle ensued, the clashing of steel and the cries of soldiers echoing through the stone corridors. I led the charge, my cutlass cutting down anyone who stood in our way. We seized the fortress, liberated the prisoners, and took enough gold to keep our fleet sailing for months. It was a victory that solidified my legend, a queen who could strike anywhere, at any time, even at the heart of Spanish power. the Golden Age. Queen of the Waves. At the zenith of my power, my name was whispered with reverence and dread. From the bustling ports of Havana to the hidden coves of Tortuga, tales of the pirate queen's exploits stirred the spirits of every salty soul. My fleet grew to dozens of ships, each captained by a loyal ally who had proven their mettle. We were unstoppable, a force of nature that answered to no king or empire. But with infamy came foes. The crown, humiliated and desperate, sought alliances with rival pirates, offering pardons and gold for my head. My life was not without personal tempests. I loved fiercely, my heart once captured by a charming rogue, Captain Luca, whose fiery spirit matched my own. Together, we were a tempest, a force that none could stand against. But the sea is a fickle mistress. Love intertwined with betrayal when Luca, enticed by the promise of a pardon and a title, turned against me. The mutiny he led was quashed, and I faced the heart-rending task of sentencing him to the depths, a decision that haunted my dreams like a specter. The sight of him, bound and thrown into the churning sea, remained etched in my memory, a reminder of the cost of power. Yet, our love had once been a thing of beauty. I remember the night we danced on the deck of La Venganza, under a sky filled with 1,000 stars. The crew played their instruments, the music mingling with the sound of the waves. Luca had taken my hand, pulling me close, his eyes reflecting the moonlight. We moved as one, our laughter carrying across the water. In those moments, there was no empire, no war, no betrayal. Just us, two souls bound by the sea. He would whisper stories of the future, of islands we would conquer together, of a life where we could be free from the constant pursuit of the crown. I had believed him then, believed that we could carve out a place for ourselves away from the chaos. But love on the high seas is as unpredictable as the tides. As Luca's ambitions grew, so did the distance between us. He began to question my authority, his eyes lingering too long on the treasures we took, his words dripping with envy. I tried to ignore it, to remember the man who had once stood by my side. But the truth became impossible to deny. The final straw came during a raid on a Spanish galleon. Luca hesitated, his eyes meeting mine across the chaos of battle, and I knew, in that instant, that he was no longer with me. He had already made his choice. The betrayal was swift, brutal, and public. He rallied those who were dissatisfied, promising them wealth and freedom if they turned against me. But he underestimated the loyalty of my crew and the bond we had forged. The mutiny was quashed, and Luca, my love, my betrayer, was bound and thrown into the sea. The memory of his eyes, filled with a mix of regret and defiance as he sank beneath the waves, is a ghost that follows me to this day. Even after his betrayal, there were moments when I found myself staring out at the horizon, imagining that somehow he had survived, that perhaps in some distant port, Luca still lived, carving out a new life for himself. The sea, after all, is full of secrets, and it holds its own counsel. But such thoughts were fleeting. I had a fleet to command and an empire to defy. My love for Luca had been real, but so was my duty to my crew and my cause. The golden age of the pirate queen was not just about power. It was about the sacrifices made along the way, the choices that shaped me into the legend I became. The Empire Strikes Back, the ultimate challenge. The final battle loomed like a storm on the horizon. The Spanish crown, desperate to reclaim their dominance, launched a colossal armada against me. It was an armada unlike any I had faced before. Dozens of galleons, bristling with cannons, and manned by the finest sailors the Empire could muster. They came for me, not for plunder or power, but for vengeance. The clash was apocalyptic, a cataclysm at sea. With cunning born of years on the run, I lured the Imperial fleet into the treacherous waters near the Pillars of Hercules, a place where the sea itself seemed to conspire with me. There, amidst the jagged rocks and fierce currents, we fought with the desperation of those with everything to lose. The sky was ablaze with fire, the sea frothing red as ships splintered and sank. La Venganza danced through the chaos, her cannons roaring, her sails billowing with the wind of destiny. The enemy fell into disarray, their formations shattered by the rocks and the relentless assault of my fleet. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sea swallowed the last of the Spanish Armada, leaving only wreckage and silence in its wake. I stood victorious, my legacy cemented in maritime lore. Legacy and reflection. As the age of piracy waned, so too did my reign. I retired to an undisclosed island, rumored to be laden with the treasures of my conquests. In the tranquility of my twilight years, I penned my memoirs by candlelight, reflecting on the tumultuous waves of my past. Would history remember me as a tyrant or a liberator? As I gazed out at the eternal sea, I realized that my story was but one of many that the oceans held in their depths. My treasures were not just gold and jewels, but the stories, the legends, and the freedom we had carved out from the jaws of tyranny. Conclusion. The Eternal Sea. Now, as my tale is told and retold, morphing into legend with each passing ship, it serves as a beacon for those who, like me, yearn for freedom against the tides of tyranny. The legacy of the Pirate Queen, intertwined with the eternal embrace of the sea, whispers to the souls of adventurers, urging them to chase their destinies as fiercely as I once chased mine. The sea, ever mysterious and untamed, holds my story within its depths, a reminder that even in the darkest storms, a determined heart can forge its own fate. And so, my tale comes to an end. But the spirit of adventure lives on, carried by the sea and whispered in every crashing wave. If you enjoyed this journey through my life as the Pirate Queen, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Human Stories Unveiled. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what stories you'd like us to uncover next. Whether it's another legend of daring adventures or a hidden chapter from history, your suggestions shape our journey. Stay tuned, as there's always more to explore about our lives on this extraordinary planet. Until next time, may your sails always find favorable winds.